to the so-called Native Americans and the so-called Hispanics. That's all these tribes down here. Ephraim on down. The so-called Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Chileans, Venezuelans, Dominicans. All this land over here was yours. All right?
Start at 40?
Yep, start at 40.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive.
And so there was a time when all 12 tribes was together, and then after King Solomon, these tribes had split with one another. They had split. So these first 3 tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, were when you read the Bible, they're called the Southern Kingdom, and they were referred to as Judah or the Jews. The ones on the bottom, they were referred to as Northern Kingdom, or they were referred to in the Bible as Israel. You'll hear the Jews in Israel, or the Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. But it was talking about this after they split. So at one point, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we were all together as one nation of people. Alright? But we split into 2 kingdoms. So that's what this is talking about. Read.
And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves.
So after the split, the Assyrians took the northern kingdom, or what we call Hispanics today, and took them into slavery. It took them into captivity. All right? And then Babylon came and took the southern kingdom, which is the blacks. All right? And then under the Persian, when the Persian Mede Empire started ruling, they allowed us liberty to go back and build in our country, rebuild our temple, rebuild our walls that surrounded our city. And this is when the Northern Kingdom, or so-called Hispanics, took up this council that we're going to lead. All right? That was about, when did Persia come into power? 539 BC. From 539 to 333 BC.
Yep.
All right, read.
But they took this counsel among themselves.
You learning, sis?
That they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country.
They said we're gonna get away from these heathen, the other nations. They wanted to be somewhere by themselves where they could keep the laws, and because we suffered a lot of atrocities of living amongst the other heathens. We fought a lot of wars. All right, because the other nation had hatred towards us. A lot of our people were seduced with their ways and started following their ways, and that made our God mad. When we stop following God and start following the ways of the other nations, that makes God mad, and he puts us into slavery. All right, he kills us. He curses us when we start doing that. If we don't follow what he says, then he starts cursing us. And it is what it is. It's not the God that they tell you in Christianity where he loves everybody and you can keep messing up and he's just going to pat you in your back and say it's okay. No, God is a man of war. All right? Read.
Where never mankind dwelt.
So they decided we're going to go to a land where nobody ever dwelt. And it's going to tell you how they got there. All right? That land is the land that we in today.
Bring it up.
So-called Americans. Read.
That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates.
So they telling you how it happened. They got together and they got ships together. They got their people together, and they entered into the Euphrates River. Where is that? The Euphrates is what, up here. All right, read.
And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over.
So the Most High showed signs for the so-called Hispanics, what you call today, to get over to this side of the land. Okay, who interpreted those signs? Give me that in Chronicles. 1 Chronicles 12, about Issachar. All right, your forefathers knew how to interpret the sun and the moon and stars to know, because the sun and the moon and stars, the other nations, they worship that stuff. But for us, I call it the 3 C's. It was our clock, our calendar, and our compass. We look up at the sky and we know what time it is. We look up at the sky and the stars and we know what direction we're going in.
Bring it up.
You can look at the moon and we know what day of the month it is. All right? The so-called Mexicans, you would call Issachar back then, you were experts in that. Hey, how you doing, brother? We giving a history lesson on nationality. Check it out.
The book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 12, verse 32. And of the children of Issachar,
That's of the so-called Mexican Joel. You missed it.
which were men that had understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do. The heads of them were 200, and their brethren were at their commandment.
All right, so our people had the understanding back then, but we lost the understanding now.
Bring it up.
All right, because we could give a care less. All we care about is chasing drugs, alcohol, and booty. All right, step over here, brother. What's your so-called nationality? Huh? You're so-called African American or black? You just call yourself American. All right. So now, what your father call himself? If you had to go get a job, what would you fill out on the application? You put African American. So come check out my sign. African Americans ain't African Americans. Nope. Right. You from the so-called tribe of Judah. Go to Joel. Africans had us in slavery too.
Bring it up.
We African Americans. Jasmine, we African Americans. How come we went through all that stuff in slavery and all that oppression? How come Africa ain't never came over here and said, no, y'all finna come up off our brothers. Y'all finna take y'all foot off our brother's neck. Why they never did that?
Bring it up.
Because those are not our people.
Right. They're not our people.
You got that in Joel?
Yeah, we're gonna start 4.
Yeah.
Start at 2.
Yeah. So this is what happened to come here. I'm gonna give you a history lesson. You in school still? All right, do they teach you black history in school?
Barely. I mean, my school, we had to tell them to make classes for the black kids.
Yeah, they ain't gonna give you. They ain't gonna
teach you everything.
Read that flag. Why? Because listen, this is our history book right here. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We all at one point we was all one nation of people, and we ruled the whole earth. You heard of the children of Israel? That's not them white folks over there that's fighting for the land.
Bring it out.
We are the children of Israel. We once ruled the world, but we turned our backs on God because we wanted to be like the other nations. We wanted to do our own thing, and He punished us for it. Now we on the bottom of the barrel. All right, but if we want to get our land back before, because He thought, listen, destruction is coming to this earth. Y'all see what's going on? That war that's going on in the Middle East.
It's chaos.
That's the beginning of the end right there.
Yeah, all this war.
All that is documented in this Bible. And we come out here, we try to tell our people. But one day you ain't going to see us out here no more, and you're going to be looking for us. All hell is going to be breaking loose. Y'all going to be like, dang, where them niggas with the Bible? Because they don't look at us like we the prophet of God. We niggas. Where them niggas with the Bible? Read that.
The book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat.
So that's what's going on now. God is eventually going to have all those nations come to the valley. You ever heard of Armageddon? Yeah. He going to gather all them nations in one area, and He going to deal with them all at one time. This is just the start of it.
And will plead with them there for my people.
He's going to plead with them for His people. Come here.
I got to do something.
The Lord is going to come and fight with all the other nations because of what they did to us. So that pleading ain't begging and pleading like you trying to get a break at the stove. Oh man, let me slide with a nickel. Not that kind of plea. His pleading is going to war with these nations.
Bring it up.
He's going to gather them all in that area, and He's going to deal with them all at one time. Because our people are scattered in all these people's countries, and they're not letting us go. They're not letting us know. They all agreed to keep us ignorant to who we really are. And they know who we are. They know y'all the children of Israel, the elite. I'm not talking about these little trailer trash white folk walking around here. I'm not talking about them. They don't know a damn thing. But the elite who set up and rule and pass laws, they know that we are the children of Israel. And they know once we find out who we are and come back to our laws that it's over with for their rulership. Read.
And for my heritage, Israel.
Read that again.
And for my heritage, Israel.
What's he gonna do?
And will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
So they scattered us through all the four quarters of the earth.
Bring it up.
Transatlantic slave trade, sub-Saharan slave trade, what's the other one? Trans-Saharan slave trade, where they took us across the Sahara Desert. Alright, when they took us east, when they took us further south, and when they sent us over to the ocean and brought us on this side of the world. Alright? Read.
And they have cast lots for my people.
When they cast lots, when they took us to these lands, they cast lots, meaning they auctioned us off like property. Alright? Read.
And have given a boy for an harlot.
They giving a boy for a harlot as a breeder. They made money off of us. You know how people breed pit bulls? They was breeding niggas. They'll take the strongest woman and the strongest young buck, they'll make them have sex with one another, and they'll take those babies and sell them like niggas sell the puppies today.
Bring it out.
Read.
And sold a girl for wine.
So they made breeders out of the men and they sold girls for wine. For what? Holiday season come around and you got visitors, you need a bed wench.
Yeah.
Or we'll give you a couple bed wenches for a couple barrels of liquor.
Right.
Or a horse or an ox.
Bring it out.
Read.
That they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me?
So what have ye to do with me? Read.
O Tyre and Zidon.
Tyre and Zidon, that's going into the African nations. Alright, these are African, God is letting the African nations know, like, hey, y'all trying to call y'allself Christian and believe in God now, y'all ain't got nothing to do with me. What y'all got to do with me? Y'all done sold my people.
Bring it up.
Y'all done oppressed my people. They was over there cutting our limbs off and everything. These so-called Africans. Read.
And all the coast of Palestine.
The coast of Palestine, they go into the Arabs. We go in their stores, we all cool, what's up, But these people, they had us in slavery. You ever heard of the city of Mecca? You know, our people that's in Islam, they send up their prayers to Mecca. That was the largest slave port.
Bring it up.
The Arabs and the so-called Africans had us in slavery, and God has documented that. Read.
Will ye render me a recompense?
Why is it asking them, will you render me a recompense? You gonna pay me back because I didn't choose y'all? Hey, y'all know these nations is mad because they didn't get chosen by God to be his chosen people?
Bring it.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is